Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys are going to join us once again. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad to have you all with us. I'm going to go ahead and bring in our friends over on Instagram so they can be part of our conversation. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon Live. Have a great set of guests that's returning with us today with a great new project. And we're now live on Amazon Live with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You see it either in this corner or down below. You also will see the newest book by our next guest. We're excited to welcome back Chris and Kate Thurman to our broadcast. The new book by Kate, you guys can see there, is Beauty Beyond the Tears. I want to talk to her about what it's been like for her to share a very personal chapter of her year with the world, but also to be able to see the response already. Chris, Kate, welcome back to the broadcast.
Hey, Cyrus, how you doing?
Hey, doing really good. I know this is always can be a nerve-wracking experience to be on for interviews. But Chris and Kate, so glad to have the two of you on, and I want to congratulate both of you on this journey. And I want to let our audience see at the time that we're having this conversation right now, you all are sitting there at #1 right now in new releases in Christian death and grief counseling for Amazon's hot new releases. So, Kate, I want to throw it to you first. What has it been like for you to see the way that people are responding to your story?
Woo, Cyrus. Oh my gosh. I tell everybody this is God's book. And to see the reactions, the comments, and they're so heartfelt, and it makes me feel so good. I'm like, oh, thank you, because I poured my heart into this book. It's like it's raw, it's real, and the reactions and the way that people are really coming and they offer their condolences, but they don't sit there. They're talking about how they know someone that needs this book. Someone needs this book, or they need that book. So it makes me feel real good to know that this book is helping so many people.
Right. And Chris, this is also part of your journey and your story. What has it been like for you to see the way that people are responding to the book?
It feels great that, like she said, that people are, wanting to get it for, I know somebody who's been through this, or this would help them out of here, and they've been feeling this way. Maybe this book will help them open up more, or know that their story's not done. So that part is just amazing. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I've of course talked about the title of the book. I see you guys already over there on Amazon getting your copy, and thank you so much for that. ESP Presents says hello to you all as well over there on Amazon too. I want to say hello to Deja Marie over there on Instagram, and also Council 28. Hello to you as well. So for those who don't know, this is a very personal journey that Kate and also Chris is sharing with us in the book, Beauty Beyond the Tears. And that is dealing with life, it's dealing with love, it's dealing with loss, but also it's also dealing with healing. I want to talk about the healing part because you wrote this book almost in real time as you were going through something very personal. Kate, how much of this was healing for you to be able to share this?
I'm going to say 90% of writing the book was healing. And I say 90% because God was involved. I was in a place where I was broken. I was broken. And few people, you all would text or check on us, and that was great. But I remember, I think I told you one time, I'm not okay. I think I remember saying those words. And when I said that, I couldn't even open my mouth to pray at some point. And when I had the unction to write this book, it's like life came back in me a little bit. And this book was healing because, like you said, I wrote it in real time. So while I'm writing to heal someone and help someone else heal, it was healing me. It was therapeutic for me to write this book and to pour my heart out, because I was pouring my heart out in private to God. And I remember one day Chris looked at me and he said, "What can I do?" Even though he was grieving as well. The look was, to me, was like, I can't do nothing with you. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you.
Yeah.
And when we talked about, after God gave us the vision to write the book, and we talked about it, we both started to see a little bit more life, because one thing he said to me is, my God is not a man that he shall lie. And he would say it to me every day, over and over and over and over. And that helped. So it was about 90%.
Yeah. Chris, this cannot have been easy for you either. And I can't even imagine, as someone, who's not a father, I can't even imagine what it's like to go through this type of loss, but also to go through, something that's out of your control, right? I think there are a lot of men that can relate to that part of it. Of there's, we as men, we try so much to try to control and protect the ones we love. What was it like for you to not only be able to be with Kate during this time, but also for yourself to be healing through it too, Chris?
Well, for me, I've always tried to be strong for her, and it was a journey, and it was such of a journey that where when she was writing the book, I seen the light coming back to her. So like that, I'm like, okay, she's getting through it. So that helped me get through it, because she's my rock sometimes. As long as she's strong, I'm able to be fine.
Yeah.
And like when I read the book, I'm sitting there reading the book, and it was almost like reading the story. I'm like, wow, like I feel for this couple, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is what we just went through. Like, we're going through this.
Yeah.
It was it was tough.
Chris, I want to stay with you for a second on that, because the other thing we're able to find out is not only about the loss that Kate and you went through together, but also your own relationship. What was that like for you to kind of open up about that and let us kind of know that, I think a lot of times we look at people, right, and we think, oh, they have it all together and all of this, and then you find things out and you're like, wait, they're human just like us. They go through things just like us. What was that like for you, Chris, to be able to show that no matter how much you all, love each other, that you all have had your challenges like everyone else has?
Oh yeah, well, it shows that we're human, and like it shows the struggle, and then us getting through it.
Yeah.
I've said to somebody the other day, I think my mentor was like, I almost welcome the challenge, because after each challenge we get closer and closer, and our bonds just get stronger and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Moses Maddox, hello to you over there on IG. He says hello to you all as well. And Chanel's joining us on Facebook. She says, I got my copy. I know you got your copy. I got my copy too. Now what? So, Kate, I want to ask you, again, you not only talk about the loss of a child, and going through that and going through the grief that can come with a miscarriage, something that even you allude to in the beginning of the book, but also just loss of, of what can be relationships, right? I think that's what makes the book so interested to connect with, because I think we all have had some type of grief. Maybe it's the loss of a friendship, a loss of a relationship, any type of loss. I think people can kind of put themselves in that. What was that like for you to kind of reflect on that? Not only your challenges, but also dealing with life after loss, Kate?
It was, some of the losses that we put in there, for example, the fire. I put a little bit in there about the fire and losing everything. So losing my sister, and raising her kids, even though I'm blessed to raise her kids. We are blessed to raise her kids. The loss was so significant. I even buried that at one point. So it was that was still therapeutic, because I realized that I didn't really grieve my sister. I didn't grieve losing everything in the fire. So being able to put all of that, all of the losses, losing a relationship with him 27 years ago, we're back, but losing that relationship with him a long time ago, that did something to me too. And being able to share all of that with the world right now is it took me I feel like a ton of bricks is lifted off of me, because I kept a lot of things buried and bottled up inside. So this book, that's how much this book helped me.
Yeah. You talk about some very real emotions, and I'm going to ask you about this, Kate, and then Chris, have you jump in, because This is something that people of faith, I think, we wrestle with. As someone, June is recognized for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. It has not always been okay for men to talk about having mental health challenges. I shared, about my own suicide attempts, my own depression. I remember growing up, my family didn't want me to talk about that because they didn't want people to look at me as being weak, even though I realize that's part of your strength, is being able to talk about what you've come out of. But I bring that up to say a lot of times we try to hide those things. But one thing that you talk about, though, Kate, that I think is so interesting is as you were dealing with your loss, especially of loss of, your child, in one instance, you asked the why questions. Why did this happen? Right? What was it like for you to reflect on that, especially looking at Job, which you quote Job in the book, that it was okay for you to question, but what was that like for you to reflect on at the time, the question of why and how you were able to deal with that why?
Okay, so growing up, it's you don't question God. You don't question God. God makes no mistakes. So I carried that through my childhood. You go to church every day and you're just sitting there in church and don't do this and you're afraid to do this. But even with the past losses, I was still kind of timid, like I'm not gonna question God because that's the way that I was raised. But this time in my faith walk, I knew it was okay because God wanted my whole heart. He wanted to hear from me. And in my heart, it was why. I needed to know why this happened again. Why does it continue to happen? Why do we continue to go through? Why do we continue to lose?
Yeah.
So
okay,
I knew it was okay to say why, to ask him why. I needed to know why. What is my purpose? I knew it was something greater that I was supposed to be doing, because there is no way I can continue to keep carrying this. And I'm in my mind, and I'm praying. I'm like, Lord, we do everything right. We give everything. We give out our own pockets. We give. We do right. We pray. We're trying to live right. We're doing right. I needed to know why.
Yeah.
And for me, it was okay. And God told me it was okay to ask him why.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris Irvin is joining us on Facebook, says it takes a strong person to write about and understand what you're going through during the journey, and not from a place of comfort, reflection, and retrospect. I want to read something from the book, if it's okay with the two of you, because I think this is another one of those things that will help people. And again, for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents. We're on Amazon Live, but we're simulcasting this on social media as well. We're talking with Chris and Kate Thurman. Kate's celebrating her newest Amazon bestseller, her first solo best-selling book, Beauty Beyond the Tears. This is what you wrote, Kate, about Chris and you, and then we'll talk about it. You say this: Chris and I found ourselves not only grieving as parents, but also aching under the weight of knowing how this loss would crush those we loved. These were the ones who had already made room in their hearts for a child they hadn't yet met, ready to love without limits. And then you say this: and so while we mourn, we also honored them for their love, their prayers, their presence, and their willingness to grieve with us without hesitation. They reminded us that this child mattered, this child was real, and our baby's legacy lives on, not just in our hearts, but in theirs as well. So, Chris, I want to begin by asking you, what was it like for you to reflect on the fact that you didn't have to go through this by yourself, that you had your family there with you to support you too?
Well, with me, it always hurts me to see other people in pain. So knowing that they felt it too, it didn't help. It kind of weighed more on me. Like,
Gotcha.
oh man, But knowing that they, I pulled through.
Yeah.
It's
Chanel says, thank you, Chris and Kate, for being so transparent in this book and in this interview. So many people need to hear that it's okay to ask why. Exactly. And I want to add to that, Chanel, and I agree with you. It's okay not to be okay. We're not going to be, as our mutual friend, Kate, Allie Dalsimer's book says, it's okay not to be fabulous every day. Every day is not going to be great for everybody, and that's okay. That's normal, to
Mm.
be that way. What was it like for you, Kate, to reflect on those words that you wrote about that you weren't the only one grieving, but also you didn't have to go through it by yourself?
Whew, it was full transparency.
Hmm.
Um, the book was written, and our mentors like, God is going to give you more chapters. And I
Hmm.
went to get my hair done, and my friend, she said to me, your mama said when she got her hair done, I lost my grandbaby.
Mm.
And the baby before, when we lost my mother-in-law, when we talked, when we, she was so excited. I remember her birthday, and I was like, happy birthday. She said, you just take care of my grandbaby. That's my birthday
Mhm.
gift. And I remember when we called her before we lost this baby, we were on FaceTime and we had to give her the news, and it hit her so hard she literally hung up on us.
Mhm.
And we talked back to her later on, but it was, and thinking about her and her reaction each time we're having miscarriages, my mom's reaction, and they're trying to be strong for us. That was, and when I thought about that, I reflected on it. I woke up that morning, I was like, oh, we have to add this because we have to honor them, because we're not the only ones that lost the babies. We're not the only ones, the kids, um, looking at the kids not even be able to look at us, dropping their head, and all they can do is just give a hug and walk by. And
Hmm.
that was it was something.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you did though talk about something else, and I think this is what I have had to learn, Chris and Kate, in my life, in going through the things that I've gone through and talking with people over the years, is that for one, to respect everyone's experience is different,
Yeah.
right? We can't expect people to grieve the way we grieve. We can't expect people to bounce back from things the way we want them to or think they should. But you say this in the book, and I want to read this for our audience. And this is, I think, such a powerful thing. You say, I no longer see the miscarriages as the end of something, but the beginning of my deeper ministry. God
Mhm.
birthed a new fire in me through that loss, a fire to reach women who've experienced the same, to hold space for those grieving silently, to be a voice of compassion, understanding, and healing. This is my purpose: to be a vessel, to serve from my scars, to speak boldly and love deeply. My pain didn't break me, it built me. So I want to ask you, Chris, and then you, Kate, um, what do you hope others are able to take away from you sharing your story, Chris? And what do you want them to know about not being alone in what they're dealing with?
Um, like my wife said, like their story isn't over. You
Hmm.
know, God promises happiness, and sometimes you have to go through struggle to realize how happy you can be and
Yeah.
the things around you.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah.
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 So
Such a great thing. Kate, what about you? I love that last line. My pain didn't break me, it built me. How does it feel to know that, one, that you have more life in you, but also that your life does have a deeper purpose?
Ooh, listen, Cyrus, I thought I was on a spiritual walk at first,
mhm.
but remember I said I couldn't pray at times,
Hmm.
and I couldn't. And when God lifted me up, he lifted my spirits up, and it's like I became a different Kate in 2 months. um so that pain didn't break me. When I asked that why, to go back to that question, I asked that why, and when he started revealing to me that I had a greater purpose, that built me, and it gave me even more confidence to speak out even more. I'm no longer afraid to talk about my story. I am not embarrassed to talk about my story. My womb is not barren. And God, this is for someone who's hanging on the edge. So my turning this pain into purpose, and knowing that it didn't break me, it built me. It built me all the way up. I
Yeah.
am a different Kate than I was. Chanel said to me one day, and it touched me. She didn't know how it touched me. She said, "The Kate you were a couple of months ago is nothing like the Kate you are right now.
Mm.
And I was crying. She didn't even know, because it was like an aha moment. Like,
Mm.
thank you, Jesus. Like, he answered my question,
Mhm.
because he was taking me to greater.
Yeah.
He was using me for greater. And that was the answer to my question that I asked, my why.
Yeah. Well, it's a powerful story. Thank you so much for trusting us here, Chris and Kate, to be able to share it here. Again, for those who have not gotten their copy of Kate's #1 new release on Amazon, again, it's called Beauty Beyond the Tears. You all can see it there on Amazon. For those who are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube, you'll see the link there to get your copy on Amazon. Of course, those of you on Amazon, you all can be able to get it for only 99 cents right now, the Kindle edition. I know the print edition is coming. Chris, Kate, really appreciate this time and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cyrus.
And more than
Pleasure is whole.
welcome. And we thank all of you for watching this episode of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.